Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Yeah, I think that the automation topic is quite important. So my name is Vasily. I'm head of research in PowerPool. I'm in a space for quite a long, and I can say that one of the biggest problem so far for protocols, users, and even AI agents now is that you need to do a lot of on-chain actions every day to power your DeFi experience and stuff. And I think this is the problem that PowerPool addresses. So PowerPool is a DePIN layer for DeFi users, protocol, and AI agents for automating transactions and all kind of executions in different rollups, and it's essentially multi-chain. So, but what is the vision? So, from my point of view, the manual Web3 is the past. It's something that is already end, right? In 2017, 2018, 2019, even 2020, you used to buy tokens yourselves, deposit liquidity yourself, using lending markets yourself. So essentially you did everything yourself. But this is the like 20th century, right? It's end. So now we are in the transition period. A lot of on-chain actions, they are already automated. And in the future, we think that Web3 will be almost totally automated from the user's point of view. Because you don't need to trade yourself, to sign transactions when you trade, to make some limit orders, DCAs, liquidation protections. You don't need to do that. Even if you can remember, the early projects in DeFi like Earn Finance or some other ones that mainly promoted this idea of compounding yields without your users' actions to the big masses, and this was a quite big success because it saves time, efforts, shares the gas costs, etc. So, and our vision is that in next 3 years, 40% of all transactions in rollups and Ethereum mainnet possibly will be automatically done by some keeper networks and DePIN layers like PowerPool. So for users, it will decrease complexity of usage of DeFi protocols because I think nobody will, for example, manage inside v3 positions or make limit orders manually, seeking for a price. You just need a service that uses. For AI agents, it will be an opportunity to implement all the decisions on chain without necessity to develop anything specifically from the AI agent protocol. And from the protocols, it will allow to do all the maintenance on the back end seamlessly without thinking about it ever. So the example of use cases are presented here. Of course, there are much more of them. This is mostly simple ones that are understandable by the ordinary retail users, so liquidation protection, leverage management. For example, you deposit some Ethereum in like a staked Ethereum form. You borrow some of wrapped ETH, you swap it to the staked Ethereum and make these looping strategies or something like that. It all requires to see the liquidation thresholds, health ratios, and stuff. So you cannot do this manually. Also, the limit orders, the DCA, the user position management, payment streaming and stuff. All of this cannot be done manually, efficiently. Also, you need to take into account the MIV, and the thing that submitting transactions to the blocks is not a business of the user, it's business of professional transaction signers, finally. So for the AI, the main use case is just bringing the AI actions on-chain. So if there is some AI agent that makes some on-chain analysis, for example, cluster analysis of wallets, and makes some decisions, buy or sell this token according to these conditions of them on the market, someone need to make the transaction and essentially buy this token for the user and essentially sell this token in the future. And who will do that? So some projects in AI space, they even develop their own keeper networks for that. But of course, we think it's not efficient, because if every project will develop its own keeper network and doing something that is not under their main core business model, it's not efficient. So AI agents, execution of decisions, and also for zkML, there is a quite big market for automated proof deployment that we're also working on now. But what is even more important, if we have a lot of DeFi simple actions, and we have a AI that can use all of that besides the simple buy and sell strategies, all of this can be really powered by AI. So AI can provide some, let's do this limit order, let's do this DCA, let's make some, borrowing on Aave, but we need to protect it from liquidation and use all these templates and actions in a smart way. And here we can see a lot of a lot of variations of possible strategies for DeFi usage. So also, I want to mention that PowerPool is not a rollup. It's not a, some kind of a network that is built separately. It's a synergetic layer. What does it mean? It means that PowerPool is deployed on rollups on Ethereum mainnet, for example, and it allows, it is just provided some services for users, agents, and DeFi protocols. So, and we see the perfect synergy here. So, because if you will consider the rollups, what is the main 3 points about any kind of rollup that we can consider a successful rollup, right? First of all, it's high scalability and low transaction fees. So, and now user wants less than 1 cent, and ideally the fractions of cents, it's a desirable transaction fee, and the majority of rollups can provide us with that. The second, we want to have a developed ecosystem, DeFi, GameFi, NFT, socials, and stuff to have some landscape for working there. And third, we want to get a significant user base and liquidity there. And if a rollup has these 3 main points available, it's a successful rollup, and we all agree on that. But what comes next? The thing is that if you have big ecosystem, there are a lot of opportunities how to use it efficiently. You can do a lot of DeFi strategies and gaming strategies and stuff. So, and PowerPool makes layer 2 usage more efficient and convenient for users, agents, protocols. And essentially what I think is a very important topic for rollup builders and teams behind the rollups is that automation can convert user base and liquidity into the transaction metrics. Because, for example, there is some user and he has some liquidity, just deposit it to the pool and earning some points and rewards. But if, for example, user need to buy some token and he start to make a DCA strategy, which is quite cheap in execution because, as I said before, the transaction costs are quite low. So even if you will accumulate the token position in 100 trades, it will cost you maybe like 2 cents. And if you're accumulating a decent amount, these 2 cents of gas costs are negligible, right? But you will make this accumulation in a much more smart way, so you will get an additional value for you as a user, and rollup will get much more transactions. And it will also pay off to the sequencers, to the overall statistics, so rollup will benefit from that. So, and what I want to say, that PowerPool provides this synergy to the rollups with a transaction count metric, first of all. So let's see how it works in a nutshell. So, so PowerPool is a network of physical infrastructure of nodes that sign transactions. So essentially the Keeper bot is a special software on a server plus the RPC. So the RPC is essential, the private RPC, because there are a lot of events that need to be checked out by the Keeper to sign transactions on time. So of course some public RPCs or some decentralized RPCs can be used, but it has a lot of limitations. So we tested it a lot and it's not reliable. So our target audience for Keepers are mainly the Ethereum solo stakers. So some users that already have an Ethereum node, they're already contributing to decentralization of the network, and they can also launch a PowerPool software on top of that, which is quite efficient and doesn't require to change the hardware stack and start earning some execution fees on top of that. So how all of this works, there is a Keeper set, for example, 100 Keeper bots that are launched with their own private RPCs in the network. There are some jobs. The job is essentially some algorithm what to do if something. So all these jobs are stored in Power Agent contract, in the core contract of the network. And at the same contract, there are some CVP stakes. So if I will make some a little comment on the EigenLayer topic, the dual staking with some restricted Ether is also possible in the future. So we also consider this direction with possibly some kind of restaking protocol like EigenLayer or some other ones. So we need to see how it will work. Now we'll use the CVP token, PowerPool native token, but of course we are considering to expand economic security a lot with restaking Ethereum in the future. So when the condition is met, for example, some job should be executed based, for example, on the time condition, like harvest this yield every 12 hours. The timestamp in the block is passed, so the jobs should be executed. The Keeper is selected randomly and executes the job. If the job isn't executed on time, for example, within the 10 blocks or some specified time interval after the condition was met, other Keepers can slash this Keeper, sign the transaction, so essentially execute this job and get a share of the initial Keeper stake. So, and the Keeper receives gas compensation plus some execution fee on top of that. So, and all of this is paid out in a native token. So it means that for using PowerPool, protocols, AI agents, DeFi users, they don't need to even know about the PowerPool token. All the payments are done in the core network token, like Ethereum and Ethereum and rollups, Matic in Polygon, BNB chain. So the token is used only for the staking, for the work token, and for the governance. So there are three main types of the jobs in the network. There is interval jobs when something should be called frequently based on the time, mainly. Like selector job or job with predefined call data. So the call data is already known and just need to be called to the contract need to be called every delta T, like 1 hour, 12 hours, anything that user will specify. And the most interesting type of job is a resolver type of job or actions that are triggered by on-chain or off-chain action. And this is the type of job where the creativity is really important because a lot of stuff can be built on top of it. So this particular example shows how the AI agents integration works. Of course, it's like a high-level demonstration here. So the idea is that we have an API of a pond. Pond is a AI that uses cluster analysis of on-chain wallets. For example, for some particular ERC20 token, so you can submit an ERC20 token contract like a meme coin or some other token that you want to build a trading strategy on top of it. The pond will analyze holders, speculators, accumulators, and a lot of different categories of users based purely on on-chain actions and make predictions on the token price. For example, they see that the situation is that token will grow, so they can provide through the API. They provide some metrics of the model, and these metrics are processed by PowerPool job. And if the metrics, like accuracy of prediction, is above certain level and the price of the token is still below a certain level, for example, the PowerPool can launch a limit order and buy this token, or can just make a swap into the IMM now, or launch a DCA strategy and start accumulating this token. And for example, in the future, when the API will provide some other information that, for example, this token needs to be sold to the market, the PowerPool Keeper network can launch a DCA strategy to sell it back, or limit order, or something like this. So this is the simplest example of how the Keeper networks are synergetically working with AI. And this is the case that we are building now. Hopefully, we will show the working results soon. Like we are testing this integration now. Also, there can be some on-chain conditions. For example, read the Chainlink core account, do this. It can be a lot of actions budget into the single one. Like deposit collateral, borrow funds, deposit these funds thereafter to some protocol, wait some time, harvest deals. If the health ratio is going down, do something else. Also, there can be a job that creates a new job, like a robot that creates robots. So it can be a really fully autonomous system. It depends on the algorithms that are plugged in. So yeah, this also what I want to mention is a huge AI ecosystem. A lot of projects that are doing some AI stuff, and in the majority of them, there's some on-chain actions resulting the AI decisions are needed. So, and what we are focusing on, providing a really easy-to-use tooling for developers and for users who want to use AI for trading, for leverage strategies, for some other stuff. Some AI, they're using some off-chain metrics to make decisions. So our goal, particularly with AI, is to allow users, traders, and any kind of people who want to use AI to use it efficiently on-chain. So we're not building AI strategies ourselves. We're just providing the reliable infrastructure for making the on-chain actions. And I think it's very important, because even if AI predicted something, but you cannot buy this, or the MAV was making sandwich against you, it's not good, right? So yeah, this is also some schematic representation how the AI integration works. So we have a job, and we periodically call the API to get data that shows us is this job executable or not? Do we need to buy a particular token or not, and in which amount? And when we're getting flag that we need, we buy or we deploy the limit order, or we deploy the DCA or something else, and it all can be done by PowerPool automatically. You don't need to be involved. This is the main point. Don't need to be involved personally in this. So these are some metrics. So we are expanding to some more kind of rollups. So this is mainly like a pre-main net. So we are acquiring keepers, acquiring some protocols now. I will show some ecosystem projects as well. So yeah, these are some basic metrics of the network. And really getting a lot of keepers with private RPCs is not an easy task, but yeah, we're trying to work with the community. If some of you like to run a nodes, we will be happy. There are some points, rewards, and stuff. So join. There will be all the links in this presentation soon. So couple of insights on the ecosystem. So we have some projects that we provided grants for them that are building on top of PowerPool. So the first project is Partitura. So it's like Web3 routines integrator. They batching transactions and provide convenient UI, UX to create automated workflows. They also focus on intents and AI agents, so we also have a synergy here. So the main idea is that PowerPool automates all actions on the backend, and they provide a good UI and transaction batching tech, and also we have account abstraction integration via the safe model, and this works now. For example, you can launch DCA in Partitura and see how it works together with PowerPool. So this is an example of very simple strategy that is launched there. So you can set up a time trigger and, for example, buy Ethereum, accumulate some Ethereum on this deep every hour on Arbitrum. It's just a simple strategy. There are some docs, so you can go there, see how it works, and a lot of other docs how to launch the similar strategies there. It's just a case study to show on a very simple example that everybody can understand. So I think that limit order and DCA is the most convenient examples to understand of the automation for ordinary users. So the second one is Supreme DAO, and I want to provide a mic to them to share some insights on how they use PowerPool.
Yeah. Hey, Vasily. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this opportunity to be here and present Supreme DAO. Supreme DAO already has been mentioned, a part of PowerPool ecosystem. So with Supreme DAO, we basically wanted to solve a couple of issues that arise during Web3 usage. Both of them are demonstrated quite clearly in these tweets that, if you want to participate in DeFi, it could get very complicated and cumbersome, because then you would have to, constantly monitor your rewards, manually withdraw them and restake and do all these manual actions, and basically do that with your own hands. And most of the DAOs previously, they were like completely non-automated. That means that, there is a vote happening on Snapshot, and then people with the small amount of people, like 3 out of 3 multisig would actually execute this transaction. So with Supreme DAO and with the support of PowerPool, we wanted to change this state of affairs and bring more automation and automated execution into DAOs and DeFi. And that's where Supreme DAO basically plays out. It works as the intersection of DAOs and DeFi and brings automation to it. Maybe next slide. Currently, we are launching our first MVP strategy on the mainnet. It is completely powered by PowerPool. We put together a bunch of different primitives, such as stablecoins on CRV USD. The users, they provide their wrapped staked ETH into the smart contract. Then PowerPool automatically starts a loan on CRV USD, takes the loan, puts it in Aura, which is a yield farming aggregation solution on top of Balancer, and then through PowerPool as well, we use Paladin in order to maintain the high yield of our Aura pool. That means that basically through this system and through automation, we can have a sustainable low-risk yield on our WST ETH staked. And the beauty of it is that users don't really have to do much. They should just stake their WST ETH, and then all the magic will happen automatically. This is our MVP strategy. But our vision actually goes way further. We want to build multiple strategies, complex strategies, including other DeFi primitives like eigenlayer and like other curve products, balancer products, and stuff like that. So we are going to set up a DAO mechanics where DAO can select strategies for the DAO, and then this strategy will automatically represent the value being accrued into a single asset. We call it YAI. It stands for Yield Automated Interest, Yield Automated Instrument, but also it kind of sounds cool, YAI. So yeah, and this also will be all powered by PowerPool, because these kind of systems, you can't really have them manually. You would have to have an army of people like constantly clicking on transactions and signing. But with PowerPool, this sorts of projects and this sorts of vision becomes possible. So yeah, please go to supremedao.xyz, check it out, follow us on Twitter. We are going to release our MVP strategy pretty soon. And also, if you want to come over and chat, I'm happy to chat to you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. So, yes, Supreme DAO is a really excellent example of builders that utilize automation. I just want to add something on top of this. It's more philosophically. So the thing is that if you sign a transaction manually in a MetaMask or other wallet, and if some network signed it for you, it's two different transactions with different value, because for the automated transactions, you didn't spend your own time. Possibly the gas was much more optimized because it was professionally like signing with some possibly additional MAV blocking and stuff that also provides value. But so the transaction that was automated is like transaction value for you plus some additional automation value. This is what I want to mention. But not only for the user, but also for the rollup. Let's consider the example. So there are a lot of rollups, but the daily active users are quite small, to be honest, right? So, and if we see the DCA strategy, so if you're using the DCA strategy during the high volatility on the market like now, you possibly will get more fair price for the asset and accumulate it over time and get a better price and make better decisions. And for the rollup, let's imagine that there is 1,000 of users. If they will buy the whole token position using one transaction on Uniswap, it will be 1,000 of transactions. If they will make a DCA and accumulate it over 24 hours, they will make 24K of transactions. This is big difference. Yeah. So and PowerPool can boost ticks like transaction by TVL and transactions by users. And if you will see the blast, for example, 60% drop of the transactions after the TG. So. And all other projects, even Starknet, unfortunately have faced these issues. When the TG comes, people get the airdrop, and after the activities, all these bots, they're coming out, right? And the activity is much lower. If 10% of manual transactions on Blast, for example, will be automated, we will get 50% of growth under our assumptions. Of course, these assumptions can vary. I just provide a napkin assumption for this. So, yeah. Join the points program that we are launching. So, I think it can benefit you a lot. So you can launch jobs, run keepers, build new templates, and engage in some social activities. And social activities and jobs from templates are most easiest activity that you can do and get some points. So thank you. This was all on the PowerPool. So looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions in the audience? Okay, first question.
So my first question, I think that I have two questions. And the first one is about reliability here. So if I have some job that I want to automate, that for example can be related to an opportunity that I want to take at some time. So let's say for the simple scenario, I want to buy some token, limit order, I'm going to create a limit order. How do PowerPool ensure that my limit order is going to be executed?
Yeah,
because what I want to understand is first how you are assigning that to a keeper, because you said that there is kind of an assignment per job and keeper, and how are we sure that this keeper is going to execute it when the conditions are met?
Yeah, yeah. So the keepers are selected randomly. So for example, the keeper number 1 was selected and the condition is met. So this keeper need to execute this job now. So all keepers, especially assigned keepers, they constantly monitor is job executable or not. So and if job is executable, so it's like a green light there, right? Like you can do it. Keeper should do it in some time interval, for example, 10 blocks or 100 blocks. It depends on the job type. Because, for example, the buying token is a time-sensitive job, right? The price can be changed. But for the compounding of yield, if 100 blocks, it doesn't matter. So, and keeper should execute the job within this time interval. And if this keeper didn't execute a job, there are other keepers that can slash him and execute job instead of him in the same transaction. So keeper number 2, for example, will slash keeper number 1 if this keeper didn't execute transaction within the given time interval. And the slashing transaction is essentially the transaction that also executes the original job. At the same time, the keeper that's slashing the first keeper is receiving the share of the stake. So there is a decent incentive. And this is the first thing. And second thing is that I didn't dig into these details, but in PowerPool, you can create like limits for the stakes. You can when you launch a job, you can specify that only keepers with stakes more than some amount of tokens, like 100K of tokens, can be allowed to execute this job. So the keepers with a huge stake and a huge risk put on the stake. So the more significant is your job, the more important it is for you to be 100% sure that it is done on time. You need to specify bigger keeper stakes and the bigger losses for the keeper if the job wouldn't be done. But the bigger keeper stakes will correspond with the bigger execution fee. There's an algorithm for that to price this responsibility. So yeah.
And what happens if the opportunity is missed? So okay, the opportunity is there, so the keeper can execute it. If the keeper don't execute it on time, there is another keeper that can take it. But what happens if none of the other keepers take it and it's missed?
It's so this is what I define as cost of no execution. The cost of missed action, right? For example, you deposited some collateral to make your DAO. I mean, the more simple example, you deposited some collateral to make your DAO, and Ethereum starting to going down, and you expect to be protected from liquidations, so the some amount of DAI will be repaid as debt from your position to be sure that your liquidation threshold will be moved down and you wouldn't be liquidated. But Keeper didn't execute this job, and you are liquidated finally, and you lost 13% of your capital, right, on the liquidation penalty. This is cost of no execution, the cost of missed automatic action for you as a user. So there are two mechanisms that we consider. First is to use the tokens for repayment. Of course, it's not a good one, but if you will combine it with EigenLayer double token staking, it will be in Ethereum, so it will be much more interesting. Second, we are doing the like Aave safety model. So Aave has a safety model, possibly you know that, that protects the protocol from the bad debt. And in PowerPool, we also consider to make the PowerPool safety model with a lot of token staking that also will be used for protecting users from like this kind of misbehavior from the keeper side, additional protection on top of the slashing. Yeah. So these are two opportunities.